What was the biggest thing that like contributed to, you think, the biggest growth for you on Kickstarter? Like, what were like the things you did that had the biggest payoff? Was it like talking to people, asking them to share it? Was it just like sending out continuous tweets on Hootsuite? What do you think?
Well, Hootsuite was very useful. As a tool, Hootsuite is very useful in general, especially if you just want to like deluge people. But there's a certain saturation point with using social media. After a while, people don't want to see it. You have to time it in such a way. Twitter, it's okay. You could hit people multiple times a day with your campaign. They don't want to see it on Facebook all the time. And
absolutely.
Facebook has made it more difficult to share information from crowdfunding campaigns over the last few years, and that's something that I've been kept abreast of. Actually, watching other people put campaigns together. The biggest thing for me, actually, there was always an uptick in traffic whenever I did an interview. And I did a lot of interviews. I hit every comic book podcast that existed at the time. I talked to everybody. Anybody who was willing to talk to me on their phone or put me in front of a mic. And that's what I did. It became, for a lot of people, the most accessible passive advertising that you can do, because
if you're seeing it everywhere, you're gonna go, what is this Molly Danger thing?
Right,
I have
exactly.
to check it
and
out.
If you have other people talking about it, like at one point, my campaign got retweeted by Neil Gaiman, out of the blue. Like, I don't know Neil personally. I've never had any contact with him directly. I'm a fan, obviously, but that was huge.
Yeah,
that got
he has a huge following.
He has a huge following. I think I probably got at least 1,000 people looking at the campaign website just from Neil's retweet alone. So it was a big, big boost, and that just came from talking,
and going out there and
going out there. And that's the thing. I think a lot of times people underestimate the amount of work it takes to run a Kickstarter campaign. I say this with the caveat of having run 2 campaigns and never wanting to run another one again, because it is just too much. It's
a lot of work.
It's a lot of work for one person to do, and it really was me doing everything. And I remember when the first campaign ended and it ticked down to 0 and got the email from Kickstarter, it's like, congratulations, your campaign is funded. I got up, it was exactly at midnight, and I got up from my chair. I was watching it as it ticked down, because you're always looking for those last minute cancellations. And that's the thing. You've got the mid-campaign lag, which always happens no matter what.
In the first few days, you're going to hit a bunch of them.
You're going to hit a bunch. You're going to hit a lull. Yeah, you're going to have like the first 2 weeks, you're going to have a spike upwards, and then it's going to slowly down. And then the middle section could be a week to 2 weeks where it's just going to be dead.
Yeah.
And that's the time when you really have to do the most work you can in terms of promotion, in terms of awareness, of getting the word out, talking to as many people as possible. I didn't do that many shows, but if you're going to do that, that's another way to do it. But you have to pick your spots as well. You can go to a big convention while your campaign is running. Never try to advertise your campaign before it's launched at a big show, because you're just going to be
drowned
noise.
out.
Exactly. There's too much going on. And I've seen people do this. They'll get a booth. Mm-hmm. They'll get their buddies to do a street team thing where they're handing out flyers in the lobby, and you know where those flyers go?
Garbage. Yeah.
And
it's just the reality.
Yeah.
I think the best way to do it, here's what I do whenever I track to see if a campaign is going to be successful or not. What I usually look for in the first 3 days, if it hits 20 to 30%, that's the first thing I look for.
Right.
The second thing I look for is I look for them to have a marketing team, like an email team.
Right.
So if they have email, if they're doing Facebook ads, Twitter ads, something like that, that's getting those people who aren't normally seeing this, and they're targeting it at the right way.
But that's not necessarily the best way to go about it, because you're not always going to get the traction from, say, like a banner ad, for example, because again,
you have
it's
to
got
hit that.
right, it's that noise.
Absolutely.
People see banner ads all the time, unless it's something that they're already familiar with or something that really gets their curiosity. They're very hesitant
Absolutely.
to click, and that's just the reality of the situation.